Hello and welcome to another episode of The Naked Turner. I had so much response about the salad tongs that I had posted that I decided I would do a how-to tutorial on how to make those. So I'm in the process of making them now. We'll backtrack a little. I'll show you those steps. And the next thing I'm going to be doing here is turning this one. This is pretty much finished. There'd be a little bit of hand sanding to do on this, and then it's ready to go. So let's get started. You guys had really wanted to see how I made those salad tongs, so I thought I would show you. And I don't have the best lighting right now, but I'm going to try to do my best. I'll be working on my lighting in here next. I just did a major cleanup and reorganization. So, what I've done here, I don't know if you can see this, but I did some layout here. This is a piece of 3/4 inch thick stock, some mahogany, and it's been laying around in the backyard for a while. It was part of an old slats to an old bed that we had, which I was going to use for some lattice type material, but then I started turning and I was like, I better stick that in the garage, so I've been holding on to it for a while. So anyway, I did this layout. It's about a 1 inch wide middle, then it comes down here to about a 3 inch long end with a 45 back to that 1 inch middle. And now I'm going to bandsaw this one out, and then I'll use this as a template to mark the second one. Come in on the 45 first. Both sides. It'll make it easier later. That way when you come in here on the long one, it'll just fall off and you won't have to back a piece of wood out off your blade. Okay, and I'm going to widen out a little. Alright, so now I'm using this one, the first one, to lay out for my next unit. Okay, so here they are, the two blanks, equal sizes, pretty much identical. Little tiny bit of inconsistency, but that's fine. So I noticed this one right here has a hole in it, right there. So unfortunately, I don't think this one will turn out so well. But for my instructional purposes, I'll be blanking this one up in the lathe, and you can see what I do next. Here it is, chucked up. Everything's locked down, tailstock, motor, and power on. Safety equipment. Everything's clear. Give it a little turn. So now what I'm going to do is turn the handle into round. Switching over to my 1 inch skew, you can see I'm almost round right now. Very nice handle. I'll do a little detail here on the end, like this. Made a tool today. It's just a 3-faceted pointer. I'm going to put a little detail right there. Should be very nice. I like this little tool for sharp details like that. And you can use it as a scraper. Come in. There. Do something like that right there. And then there we go. Switching back to the skew. 45. Rubbing and lifting the handle. I want it to be a little thicker down here, thinner up here. So there it is. So there'll be hardly any sanding required on this because the skew gets it really nice and polished. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is, it's really easy to get blowout here, especially on this mahogany. So I'm bringing my tool rest down here and making sure I'm clear. It's just ever so slightly off center, which is fine. I'm going to center it up right now. Locking off and turning. I'm going to move this camera just a wee bit too. Okay, there we go. Now, running. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to be bringing this in almost perpendicular to my tool rest. And then just very lightly removing material. And that will hopefully avoid blowout. There we go. And then I'll create a detail. I'll make a little detail right there. Okay, now, keep angle. Just barely introduce the cutting edge. And let's check back. Okay, that's what I want. Just want it a little bit rounded here on the edges. This right here I'm going to be cutting away anyway. So now I'm going to do a little, actually, you know what? I'm going to do a little more shaping right up in there. Same thing, coming in real steep. I drove the tool. And so now all I need to do to this is sand it. And see something funny right there? I'm going to actually adjust that slightly. Okay, much better. So now I have a little detail right there. The rest of it is really nice. So now I'll show you the next step. A little bit of sanding and some finish. Okay. So it really only needs a tiny bit of sanding with maybe some 300, something like that. So. Okay, so there it is with a little bit of finish on it. All right, now, so here's my piece. I'm going to sand it down to a shape like this. There we go. Now I'll take it to the bandsaw and cut it. All right, so now what I'm going to do is come in about 1/4 of an inch from that end and cut a curve back and out. So adjusting my rollers so I have clearance. Okay. take it back out to the sander and sand it smooth. But there's the shape. Okay, now I'm going to sand this. A little bit more. Okay, there we go. Alright, so now I'm back here at the bandsaw, and the next thing to do is lay out a shape for the salad fork. This is pretty much a finished piece right here for the actual scoop portion, or the spoon portion. All I would do, a little bit of hand sanding on the edges and on the surfaces, and put some finish on it, and it's done. And that's your spoon side finished product. But for the fork, I like to come in an equal distance from the two sides, come down to a specific location. Let's make a center tine for my fork. So there we go. Those would be my 3 tines. These would be my gaps in the tines. So I come down and I make a nice curve here at the bottom. Come back up. I'm just freehanding this because really it's all about beautiful imperfection. So if it's a little bit imperfect, it just makes it look more handmade. Alright, so there they are. Let's cut those out. And there's 2. Now just a little bit of sanding in here and in here, along all the edges, rid of any little burrs that I have. And there's your finished salad fork. So you guys should be able to make those. They're really nice, very fun, and they look great. They work really well too, which is the best part. So yeah, now I would take my my random orbit sander and just sand this off. Put a little finish on it, and it's done. So there you go. Hope that answered some of the questions that you might have about how I made those. Okay, there we go. Just cut the end off, sanded it down, and now it really is a finished salad fork. All done. Hope you guys have fun, and maybe you'll try to make one of these. They turn out real nice, and they, like I said, they are extremely useful.